Hello, welcome to Old Scribes. We have a special guest here today, Mr. Jim Lampley, formerly with HBO Sports, and certainly one of the golden voices of boxing. Jim, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it.
My privilege. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. I'm good. A year ago, we spoke, and we spoke at length right before you were about to get onto the pay-per-view.com platform and participate in that. And we spoke, and you said that you wanted to, you still loved boxing, you still want to be involved in boxing, and that was a year ago. Are you scratching that itch, that boxing itch, with pay-per-view.com and participating in that way?
Yeah, it's been a great year with ppv.com, and I get to go to big fights. I get to sit in close proximity to the ring with my ppv.com colleagues, Lance Pugmire, Chris Algieri, Dan Canobio. Together, we share in a live chat. Audience can join the chat as well. So it's a very communal and interactive form of fight communication. It's not like doing blow by blow. It's more like what Larry Merchant and Max Kellerman did for years, providing a kind of editorial overview and, applying whatever level of expertise seems appropriate in interpreting the fight that way. So I've really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to going back to again cover Canelo in this Saturday night's fight.
Yeah, and you had spoke about years, being the blow by blow, expert, and one of the best ever to do it, but also wanting to kind of move over to the analyst role. Are you enjoying it in that way?
Very much. I think I said to you a year ago that I had fantasized sometimes during the last several years on HBO that there might come a moment when I would get up and walk around behind Roy and get into Max's chair, and Max would get up and walk around Roy and become the blow-by-blow person. I always thought that would have been appropriate. HBO was sold. The new owners, for whatever reason, weren't interested in continuing the boxing franchise. It appeared to me that I was now a viewer, a spectator. And then along came ppv.com and the opportunity to do this. And as I say, the nature of the content that I'm providing in this particular situation is very much what I think I would have tried to provide if I had wound up taking the Larry Merchant, Max Kellerman chair at HBO.
So a lot has changed since you left, since HBO departed the sport in 2018. What do you think, looking back now, that HBO Showtime rivalry, in retrospect, brought a lot to the game. How was that good for boxing? Not just the rivalry, but the two platforms that seemed to bring a lot to the sport at the time.
The two giants of non-commercial television. And if ever there was a sport which benefited from a format without commercials and a continuous presentation, it was boxing. And the reason for that was because so much was added to the story and the storytelling by not going away for a commercial during the 1 minute between rounds. That was the biggest difference, really, in the nature of the presentation on HBO and Showtime, as opposed to what people had watched on commercial television all the way back to the Gillette Friday Night Fights and on through CBS Sports Spectacular, NBC Sports World, and of course ABC's Wide World of Sports. For decades, every time the bell sounded, viewers sat back and watched commercials while something went on that they weren't watching, weren't hearing, weren't a part of. And a lot of those things that went on during that 1 minute between rounds were major elements of the storytelling in the sport. So That's what HBO and Showtime gave to audiences that they had not previously had. And I think it was a tremendous addition.
It's a new era now with a lot of different platforms jumping into the fray. Um, what are your general thoughts on how things have changed since HBO and more recently Showtime departed?
Well, I'm not going to say that everything in the world of HBO and Showtime was better than what we have now. All power to those platforms which still program live boxing to a global audience that wants it and wants to see the best fights in the best ways. And many of them are programming in such a way as to avoid commercials and to give the viewer the 1 minute between rounds. And now you have the addition of an extremely ambitious figure in Saudi Arabia with a giant sum of money who wants to become sort of the straw that stirs the drink in terms of motivating and creating big fights. We'll see what he can do. Others have attempted to get into that position and have met with mixed success. But at the end of the day, there's ambitious promotion going on. There are various telecasts available to the viewer. Some of them have no commercials. So at the end of the day, it's a continuing period of some great benefits to the boxing audience.